Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tell Me What You Know. Today is Sunday, December the 15th, and this is episode 35 of Tell Me What You Know. We're only, 17 episodes away from doing this for a full year.
For a full year.
Yeah.
Wow.
One episode a week for a full year. Have we learned anything?
104 topics in that time?
Yeah.
I thought we're just skipping ahead to it, but yeah, we're going on 70 topics.
Do you think you've retained information from...
I've certainly learned stuff.
Stuff pops up, I feel like, after we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll take that right into a topic that, did you see Patrick Reed's caddy got kicked out?
I did.
Yeah, he got into a fight with one of the fans of the President's Cup.
Australian bogan.
Yeah. Well, so one thing I thought that the caddy said that's interesting is that he felt it was his duty to defend Patrick Reed.
Right.
Now, I didn't bring that up as a, part of my...
If he had listened to the podcast.
Well, I mean, maybe a quality, an attribute of a great caddy would be I'm willing to punch people in the face when you say something bad to my player.
What did he say? The only damage is a little spilled beer or something?
Yeah, I think he might have shoved him. But he had to sit down. He couldn't be on the bag anymore for the rest of the tournament.
Well, and they won.
So
maybe that was a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Patrick Reed played yesterday or what he played in.
I think he played in the singles to last night.
Right.
Yeah, which we won.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Came back from behind.
I mean, I get where he's coming from, the caddy.
Yeah. He's also his brother-in-law.
Right. Well, and that family's kind of crazy.
And yeah.
But because I know them personally, I guess.
I know people who know them.
People say that they're a little bit off, but anyway, I get where he's coming from. I don't know that at an event you can touch a spectator or something.
For sure.
Especially, I'm sure he did that and expected to not be able to participate the next day.
You think
I would imagine.
I think he did it and walked away, and I bet he felt vindicated in it. But yeah, maybe.
I'm sure he doesn't regret it.
No, I don't think he regrets it.
Stood up for your guy.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't love Patrick Reed, though. If it had been some player that I really liked and he was standing up for him, I'd be even more so. I'd be like, no, you can't sit him.
You might have tweeted about it or something.
Maybe, I don't know.
Tweeted right at the USGA or whatever, International Golf Association.
Be like, how dare you sit this guy?
Yeah.
And then I also had a massive flub in your topic last week. Moscow Mule.
Definitely not whiskey. Right.
I think I'm so...
And
vodka. In vodka, yeah. I mean, Moscow. What? Duh.
Russian whiskey.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Right. Love that Stoli whiskey.
For some reason, I always equate that mug it comes in, that copper mug.
Right. You were so wrong. You were so wrong with that you made me question whether or not I knew what a Moscow Mule was. You were so confident.
So wrong. A nice Moscow Mule. Horrible.
I was like, oh, maybe it does have.
What?
I couldn't think of it at the time. Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of a mint julep, which does have whiskey.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But again, is not always served in that type of mug. I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, all good.
What's your topic for this week?
All right. Well, let's hop right into it. You may, when I say this topic, you won't be surprised.
Okay.
Because as you know, I've been kind of scrapping for topics recently.
Michael, so maybe we've talked about this?
We might have talked about this. Tell me what you know about therapy animals.
Oh, great. I've looked into it because as a loophole with getting a dog.
Right.
I think I was in an apartment condo, and they had maybe made overtures to me that they'd be fine with us getting a dog, and then they reneged on this.
Gotcha.
So I looked at going around them fully from the legal element. You cannot. This is my therapy dog.
A little Fair Housing Act.
Yeah, exactly.
Situation.
Exactly.
All right.
I don't know how long they've been used, I guess, but I know that soldiers coming back from war have been treated with a therapy dog as a way to combat PTSD.
Right.
And I think it's actually pretty effective. I know that, and I think this is much more rare, but there might be some EMTs or firefighter crews that will have a golden retriever or something, and you go to a scene of an accident and maybe someone's just had a really traumatic event. The dog can help sort of in that traumatic time.
Yes.
So that's kind of my limited knowledge of therapy animals.
Okay.
I know that they're calling them therapy animals is an abused term. I feel
Yes.
to get around certain
the vagueness is on purpose as well, because
right.
while they are mostly cats and dogs, that is not the only type of therapy animal out there. I think we'll start. I don't even know if therapy animal is the proper way to kind of group all of these animals, but I was looking more drawing the line between emotional support animals and the service animal. So emotional support animal and the service animals, they differ. Service animals are trained to perform specific tasks, right? So think of a guide dog helping a blind person, or a dog that will alert somebody if their owner has a seizure or something like that. So they're specifically trained, right? And service animals are typically dogs, I believe. I think there's some horses as well. And they've been helping people since at least 1927 is what I found. The main difference kind of hinges on whether or not the animal has been formally trained to do something specific.
Like perform a function.
Right, between an emotional support animal or a service dog. Emotional support animals don't really need to have any training at all. So at the same time, it can be said that really any animal that provides comfort or companionship, unconditional love or affection to their owner could be an emotional support animal, right? You have 2 emotional support cats at your house.
Absolutely.
Yes.
100%.
I think they do provide you with something like that, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, the companionship is off the charts.
You hear that about cats a lot.
Hey, these aren't normal cats.
The reason why this is important, I guess, is that in the USA, at least, people with emotional or mental illnesses or disabilities, they can be exempt from certain rules pertaining to federal housing or to travel. If they have these emotional support animals. Like we said earlier, typically dogs or cats, but there's no hard line drawn here. And the vagueness, I think, is these, I guess, lawmakers as well as just citizens trying to live their lives kind of suffer from this a little bit, suffer because of this a little bit, because it is so vague in its definition and in the law that people kind of exploit it a little bit. They abuse it, some fraudulent stuff. They get away with taking different kinds of animals with them.
Give an inch, take a mile.
We talked about the Fair Housing Act, right? So it requires a landlord to make these reasonable accommodations for their tenants if they have disabilities, so like a wheelchair ramp. But there's a big gray area here because now they have, it could be we don't allow dogs in this residence. Well, this is my emotional support dog.
Right.
It could be we don't allow animals in this residence. Well, this is my emotional support echidna, like kangaroo.
Right.
This is I have to have this animal.
Right. And the difference here, though, too, is it's not difficult to get an emotional support license or
it's very
whatever.
easy.
I mean, it's very easy. There are doctors.
I pretty much got certified in the last 15 minutes. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Well, we can skip ahead to that. You know how you can tell it's just like a racket or a sham is that when you type in emotional support animal documentation into Google, you get 15 ads with their pricing.
Yeah.
Right away. It's like as low as $49. It's like okay, so this is definitely not full-fledged cut and dry here,
accredited
like into the exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is some online therapist who's going to say, "Oh yeah, I understand you have I would say you're bipolar." So we're going to give you this this tag here. Jump into a little facts and figures. Obviously, the trend has become increasingly more popular over the last several years. The National Service Animal Registry in 2011 had 2,400 registered animals. That number is north of 200,000 today.
Wow.
So in just 7 years, they've been. I would imagine that thing's.
So it's a registry of all animals that are emotional support?
It could be more service animal.
Okay.
But even if that number is climbing, just imagine the ESA numbers, right?
Yeah.
So what disorders qualify? Learning disorders, ADD, sexual disorder, tic disorders, motor skill disorders, bipolar, gender identity, substance-related disorder, cognitive disorders.
So everything.
Anything. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
A sexual disorder?
Well, I mean, think about how easy it is to get to say you have ADD and get Adderall, right?
Right, yeah.
So it's even easier to get I have ADD, I need my dog with me at all times.
Oh, I need this controlled cocaine, and I also need my emotional support dog.
Right. Is that cocaine? No, these are amphetamine salts. Yes. So you mentioned the process is pretty easy. What is that process like? Like I said, the dead giveaway is that the documentation, when you go on Google, it's just people trying to sell their service to you. But essentially, you have to suffer from some sort of mental or emotional disability and have a licensed medical professional certify that disorder through letter. They have to write, with their letterhead and everything, saying, yes, this is my patient. They have a disorder. They don't have to any more details. They don't need to provide any more details other than they have a disability or they have a disorder.
Right. Well, otherwise it's like
client.
patient, doctor,
right?
yeah,
client patient. Right?
yeah.
The impairment must be substantial enough to produce a disability, though, not just discomfort or I just want my pet with me at all times.
Okay.
Still, you can't. I don't know that you can like really. It's pretty subjective there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the animal must also provide a significant benefit that is the difference between the person functioning adequately or not, right?
Adequately.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, these words, like you couldn't get more vague if you tried.
Yeah.
Like what is it? What is a person functioning adequately?
Yeah. And exactly. What's the baseline? It's totally
right. Well, they're trying to combat against
scale.
it in a lot of states already. It is a crime to fraudulently claim that your animal is an emotional support animal.
So what do you think the consequences
They're misdemeanors.
are? Yeah.
I mean, you're probably a ticket, right?
Yeah.
You're probably paying a fine.
Yeah.
And then maybe the trauma from that fine allows you to qualify to have an emotional support animal.
I had a mental breakdown after I was given a ticket.
Right. What I thought was interesting is that people with these emotional support animals have all these rights, especially in travel. Like you can bring your pet onto the airplane.
Yeah.
But let's say you're super allergic to dogs. You have no rights in the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't be like, oh, no, I'm allergic to dogs. Maybe they can move you or something.
Yeah. I know it's crazy how we have some hierarchy of because at least you're having a physical reaction if you're allergic to dogs, and some people are very allergic to dogs.
Right.
And you're just bringing the dog on, yes, because it's cheaper.
But then you start
to
thinking
have the dog with you when you're sitting in your seat.
Then you start thinking as well, like maybe this person is like a veteran who has PTSD and they really need this animal. And you can't be like, my sneezing is going to be bad for 2 hours,
right?
Whereas this guy might have a breakdown or something, right?
Right.
But it's just because since the system's so flawed,
right.
you don't know.
It's cat's out of the bag,
right?
And you exactly because if you did see somebody that had a dog, you'd be like, oh, if the expectation that it was a serious issue or the dog was really giving support, then you'd be a lot more accommodating.
Yes.
You'd be like, oh, sure, please.
Just if you don't mind moving me, that'd
and
be
that's
great.
how I feel about seeing eye dogs and canine unit dogs.
Right.
You know, like you see that they're doing a job and you don't want to treat them like you see a golden retriever in a dog park or something.
A lot of times they'll be wearing a vest or something. ESA, like emotional support animals, do not have to have any kind of like markings on them that show that they're there. It could just be your dog with a leash on.
Yeah.
No extra tags. No anything. Delta's actually banned pit bulls from their and similar breeds from their passenger cabins after a pit bull bit two employees on a flight.
We were produced the podcast The Electables, and we had John Bernthal on, the actor, and this is one of his philanthropic issues is pit bulls, pit bull rescue, and he was talking about how there isn't any data to back up that pit bulls are more aggressive or more dangerous than other breeds. So he thought that was it's a complete craziness that they're going to just say no to this entire breed. Some cities supposedly have said no dog breeds here, no pit bulls. Which is
I don't know enough about the.
Yeah, I don't know enough about.
You always hear
issues.
They're definitely been like they've been. They're the villains in the dog world for sure. Just from everywhere you look.
Dog fight videos and stuff. I'm not. A, I'm not watching them, but B, I think pit bulls are in them
for sure. For sure. You remember that DMX video?
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal a topic from you, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some crazy animals that people use as emotional support animals on flights.
I think I saw something recently, but yeah.
All right. Well, let's start with a peacock.
Oh my God.
So a New York artist was trying to fly with their emotional support animal, which was a peacock named Dexter. This is back in January 2018.
Did you happen to see pictures?
Oh yeah,
it's like
it's
a full
peacock.
full feathered, full peacock.
Yes. Well, its feathers were down. It wasn't trying to mate. I don't believe it was trying to bang any other peacocs at the time.
Peacocks aren't just always walking around showing it off.
Didn't see a whole lot of talent at LaGuardia.
If you got it, flaunt it, right?
Yeah. Apparently, this peacock had really helped change her life in a positive way. This is what the artist was saying. Unfortunately, Dexter was denied entry onto his flight, I assume because it was a peacock.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just be transporting exotic birds.
Yeah, I don't think the tail feathers fit in the overhead storage compartment. You might have
Did
seen.
he get all the way to the gate, you think, this artist? And they were like, no, you can't bring this peacock on.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Pretty big New York artist move there, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, this is my peacock. Not to say that peacock is not an emotional support animal. Just a pretty bizarre one at that, I think.
Yeah. No, yeah, you definitely getting the companionship, but...
Yeah. You might have seen this one. Daniel the Duck.
This wasn't the one I saw.
Daniel the Duck went viral after a video caught him on a flight. He was wearing red shoes and a Captain America diaper.
And he gets to come on board.
Yeah, Daniel the Duck was just waddling up the aisle.
Yeah,
and there's a video of him or a picture of him just staring out the window, kind of forlornly at the clouds.
Wish I could be flying out there right now.
That's right. So that was Daniel the Duck. An emotional support pig was kicked off a U.S. Airways flight in December of 2014.
I saw this one.
Apparently, the pig weighed about 70 pounds, so it wasn't like a little miniature piglet. It
wasn't like who was that really cute little pig? Anyways,
Yes.
the little pig, like a baby pig.
Little mini pigs are adorable, and they're
Yeah.
small. This one was like 70 pounds. Apparently, it stunk up the whole airplane.
It's a pig.
When the owner was like trying to put her stuff up, she just tied it to the armrest, and the thing just started howling and knocking shit all over the place. So
they got all the way on the plane.
Yeah. And they said, you got to get out of here with that.
Yeah, like
that mammoth pig.
Nobody said, the security TSA didn't say anything.
It's what do you expect is going to, I mean, maybe that pig was just having a bad day. The woman apparently was talking to it like a person saying, stop being a jerk. So, in Qatar,
Yeah, whatever.
the next World Cup venue.
Yeah.
There was a picture of two men walking down the aisle with their emotional support falcons. Yeah.
On their shoulders?
One was on the wrist, and the guy behind him had two falcons on his wrist, right? Listen to what I found out about this. Having falcons apparently is a pastime.
Really?
They're not necessarily emotional support animals, but Qatar Airways allows economy passengers to carry one falcon in the cabin, although a maximum of 6 falcons are permitted within the economy cabin of any one aircraft.
Wouldn't they start fighting each other?
I think they're pretty like domesticated.
Huh.
Yeah. There is a hefty excess baggage charge for these animals. It ranges from $115 to $630 per for the privilege.
Wow.
Yeah. Next on the list, we have the emotional support alligator. Right. So we've mentioned the vast majority of these animals are dogs, but sometimes it gets a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
You have Wally the alligator. He was approved by his owner's doctor in York, Pennsylvania as an alternative to taking medication for depression.
What do you think kind of like interactions that they have with this alligator? You think it's just tossing them meat and it's just the being in the same room? Or do you think they like hug each other?
I was wearing a harness.
Like a leash
like
type
a leash
thing?
harness.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know if it knows its name. I don't know if it does any tricks. That's Wally the alligator. I'm going to kind of jump ahead. The Air Carrier Access Act, it does have some protections for these airlines, I think. It says that airlines are never required to accept certain animals like snakes, reptiles, ferrets, rodents, sugar gliders, and spiders.
What's a sugar glider?
Sugar glider is like it looks like a little, to me, I don't know what it is, but it looks like a little flying squirrel.
Okay.
Type thing.
Okay.
It's like a tiny little marsupial-like animal, right? Mm-hmm. I thought that was very specific. It didn't say like et cetera at all. It was like those 6 things: snakes, reptiles, ferrets, rodents, sugar gliders, and spiders.
Not a lot of ambiguity here.
Right.
These 6.
People have taken kangaroos on flights before. Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre, right? I mean, they have these the transportation.gov has this whole like things to know webpage about traveling with your service animals. Mm-hmm. It says airlines can exclude animals that are too large or heavy to be accommodated, that pose a direct threat to the health or safety of others, cause significant disruptions of their barking or snarling or whatever, or they're prohibited from entering a foreign country. Makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Also, if you have an animal on a flight for like 8 hours, that dog's gonna have to take a dump somewhere.
Yeah. Fine. I don't know the great way to do this. Otherwise, just get in your car and drive.
Yeah. I mean,
this is certainly the one time when it's going to start bumping up against other people, right? Where it's going to enter my life. Your support animals, if in the comfort of your own home,
just took a crap
care.
in 36C.
Right.
What am I supposed to do about that?
Yeah, like I don't really care, but if it makes the flight delayed and like it causes discomfort to somebody who's allergic,
right?
I think you need to find other ways of transportation.
I know several people who take their dogs in the cabins on flights.
Small dogs.
Reasonable sized dogs, not giant, not like a Great Dane, but like labs.
So,
and these people, to my knowledge, I think are skirting the system, but I could be completely wrong.
My buddy Chris, when he transported his dog back from California to New York, he said it was the worst flight of his entire life. He felt so bad for the dog. dog. Well, it did fit, but like it was maybe if he'd waited another month. This was like the dog was a puppy.
Okay.
And he just said it was horrible. I think because he's sitting there just being like, man, I just feel so bad for the dog. He's sitting in here like not really sure what the hell's going on. You're flying.
Yeah, flying coach sucks anyway.
Flying is scary. Not that they know what's really going on, but like they also don't know what's going on, and that's scary too.
Yeah.
No, it's not a great thing to have to deal with.
So the system is bugged for sure.
For sure.
And a man from your home state, Arizona, wanted to kind of make a point of this, right? So he decided to register his emotional support animal. He went online, went to the website, filled out the form, and was accepted. Any guess as to what his emotional support animal was?
Is it an Arizona animal?
No, it's all over.
Okay. A snake.
It was an emotional support beehive.
What?
Yes. He was accepted with his swarm of bees to take them on an airplane.
That's fantastic.
I would imagine it was going to get the Dexter Peacock treatment and get sent right back. But he got the paperwork. Got the paperwork done for it.
So some doctor was like, sure.
Yeah.
Your
some
emotional
online psychiatrist
Do you
was like,
think
yeah,
every
you got
bee-
$80?
It's interesting he was able to group the collective hive.
Right.
Not
just one bee.
Yeah, it's a lot of paperwork.
Well, you take the queen, the rest of them are coming with it, I feel like.
Yeah.
Right.
They follow her.
Yeah. I'm sure there are tons of other examples of just bizarre animals that have been taken on flights.
I do think it's definitely wrong to group the service animals in with the emotional support, because you're really like, if I was a service animal and like I was being grouped with the same rights as some other dog that didn't have any training, I'd be like, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up?
I mean, there's a lot of backlash about it now. I think local governments are passing a lot of laws for businesses and for housing. I think transportation as well. You know, they're like, oh, that's your service animal. It's like, no, that's your dog that you bought a vest.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a little yellow vest on it. And
Yeah.
You just want to have your dog with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see if they can straighten the system up a little bit. You did mention the service animals as well. I kind of wanted to give a little shout out to a couple organizations that I found when I was doing this. So Canines for Warriors, I thought was a really cool one. They're dedicated to providing service canines to veterans who have PTSD or traumatic brain injury and or military sexual trauma resulting from service post 9/11. And so what they do is it's good for the dogs and for the veterans. All the dogs are rescue dogs. So to date, they've rescued over, I think, 1,100, almost 1,200 dogs, and they've paired them with close to 600 veterans.
So they rescue each other.
They rescue each other. That's right. They save each other. That's right. It's a Hallmark movie.
It's so good.
There's no cost to the veteran at all. It's just the dogs come in. I don't know. I believe they are. I'm not sure if they're all service dogs, if they've received training. I know definitely a lot of them are companion dogs. But Pets for Patriots as well, they link veterans with companion pets. So just having not necessarily service animals. But
Yeah.
So those are pretty
I
cool.
think that's great.
Yeah, it's
absolutely great.
It's the season of giving. So if you feel like making a little donation to Canines for Warriors, I think they'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Looks like they're doing some good work.
Huh.
That's therapy animals.
Yeah, that's a good topic.
Thanks.
I like that one. We're gonna shift over into a funny topic, kind of. Well, not a funny topic. It's something neither of us, I think, have ever deeply thought about, and you'll find out here in a second. Michael, tell me what you know about going bald.
Oh, I know nothing about that. I have a great head of hair.
If you're watching this on video, you got to take that hat off.
Yeah.
Got to pop it off.
I worked out and my hair's all a mess now. I went to the gym. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. On a Sunday. Going bald, I feel like a lot of people, and it's easy for me to say because I'm not, but I feel like a lot of people hold on too long.
Yeah. Read a lot about this perspective.
I feel like, and maybe it's harder when you're in that position, but I feel like you would be a lot happier and just look a lot better if you just said, you know what, this is a one. Either get the hair plugs, get the transplant, or just be like, this is what I am.
Yeah.
This is my reality.
So it's like whatever you decide to own will probably look better than being some wishy-washy in between where you're just wearing your insecurities on your sleeve.
It's like,
yeah,
everybody knows.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Take care of it. But I don't know anything about the science of it.
Okay. Well,
And I don't know how well stuff like Rogaine and Trojan? No, Rome. Like some of those like
Rome. Oh yeah. I think that's more for the ED stuff.
thought it was
sending
hair
pills,
stuff
but they
as
might
well.
they might be doing hair stuff as
Okay.
well. But the other one you might be thinking of is Propecia.
Propecia.
Yeah,
Yes.
Propecia and Rogaine are like the two big ones,
Yeah.
and yeah, we'll get into some of these treatments.
Roman, not Rome. Roman.
Treatments. We're gonna start with that's crazy.
All right. Better
So
blow my mind.
on average, the scalp has 100,000 hairs on it, and they cycle through periods of growing, resting, falling out, and regenerating. So that's sort of like there's a natural progression for your hair follicles and like
Yes.
the hair that you have. 100,000.
Falling out part. I don't know how I'm not bald because my bathroom is just covered in hair, and it's not just head. It's like my chest and back and everything like that as well, but-
So on average, I read this and I actually didn't write down, so it might be wrong. I think it's around like 25 to 50 hairs fall out naturally every day.
that seems low to me.
It could be. I mean, it could be low
Yeah.
for different people.
I also have been told I have very thick hair. By a lot of jealous women.
Is this when you're sitting in the chair getting a haircut? Be like, oh, you have such thick hair.
That's right.
Oh,
That's right.
So good.
Yes.
I don't know why I gave it a little voice there. So across the globe, $3.5 billion is spent on baldness cures every year. To put this into perspective, Bill Gates made the reference to this, that only $200 million is spent on malaria each year. So, I mean, wow. A lot more people care about going bald.
Well, it affects them.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Malaria happens.
I would imagine there's more bald
I don't
people
want malaria,
yeah.
but
If I had malaria, I'd give money to not have malaria.
yeah.
I think that's a lot of people's thought process.
I think a lot of people have malaria, though.
Do you think more people have malaria or are
than
going bald?
No, a lot more people are going bald.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So according to a 2009
one
survey,
is deadly, I guess. Though,
yeah, one is you're dying from that. According to a 2009 survey from the International Society of Hair Restoration Surgery, almost 60% of men would rather have a full head of hair than money or friends.
Huh.
I mean, 6 out of 10 people.
What was this organization that came up
I
with
would
this?
rather have hair than money or friends. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
So it's like is it like a triangle? You could have 2 of 3. I could have hair and money. I could have money and friends, or I could have friends and hair.
just the way it was written. So I don't
Yeah.
money or friends.
Pick 2.
Yeah, pick 2.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have money and a head of hair, but you
Yeah.
can't have any friends.
All right.
So yeah, I thought those were some interesting statistics just about the going bald in general and sort of the issue. So yeah, you talk about the science.
Yeah.
What's the science? Like what's going on here? So
Can't wait to hear this.
yeah. So the most common cause of baldness is called androgenetic alopecia.
Yeah.
Alopecia is the science term, the scientific term
Yeah.
for hair loss.
Okay.
So androgenetic is a certain type of hair loss. There's a bunch. I didn't go into all of them because this is the main one that is like the main form of why people lose their hair.
Okay.
And it's basically also its more colloquial term is just male pattern baldness. So it was discovered in a scientific way. James B. Hamilton in the mid 1940s published a paper about the 3 different factors that weigh in on people losing their hair. And the 3 main factors are androgens, which are hormones,
Okay.
mainly testosterone in this case,
All right.
genetics, and age.
Yes.
So those are the 3 main things.
All makes sense so far.
Yeah, I mean, and I think when I read this, it's like that when it's broken down into its simplified form, it feels almost like, oh, this should be like a common or maybe an easier fix. Like you offset some kind of, you need more testosterone, you need something else. It seems that this is obviously much more complex, and there are a lot of different factors at play.
Gotcha.
And there's a lot of different types of baldness. Like supposedly, like hair follicle issues are different than just like
Thinning hair.
Thinning hair. Like there are dietary issues. There's so many different things.
Huh.
Stress could be a factor. A lot of different things. But yeah, so androgens. So when testosterone comes in contact with an enzyme in the hair follicles, it produces DHT, which is dihydrotestosterone. So it's another form of testosterone, I guess, that like an enzyme is a catalyst. It changes the hormone. It changes into DHT. And DHT is what binds to the hair follicles that cause it to start degenerating.
Okay.
Perhaps early.
All right.
So it over time, the hair follicles shrink until they can't, sustain a healthy hair follicle.
Gotcha.
Hair. So then that's what's going on.
All right.
But it only happens in hair follicles that are dictated by the genes. So it has to be a hair follicle has to be predisposed to get this DHT binding to then fall out. So that's where it goes. If your father had a certain pattern of baldness, you could have that certain pattern as well.
When you say pattern, do you mean like the design in your head?
Correct. So this is another part I'll get to right now. Like the lost patterns to it. So there are receding from the forehead, where it just goes back. There's receding from the temples, where you sort of get
the runways.
You get the runways, yep. And then there's the receding in the dome.
Yep.
And some of these can also be married together.
Sure.
And there's I think I read type A, type O, and type M. And they're all the different forms. So, and then over time that has stages. So in the beginning, you'll start seeing receding hairline at your hairline. And then the next stage would be it goes further, it's more dramatic.
Yeah.
And if it was the dome starts in the middle, if you're see some basketball player in a game, you don't usually see people from above.
Right.
And then you see them oh, you're balding.
Yes.
And that just spreads out and then kind of creates a George Costanza, Larry David style baldness.
The friar look.
The friar look, exactly. Yeah. In fact, the Hippocratic Oath.
Yes.
He was looking at baldness a lot.
Okay.
And he has this one's the Hippocratic wreath, where I think it just goes around his head.
Yeah, it's like the old Caesar haircut.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he has a pattern named after him.
Is there any truth to the old wives shall wait?
No, please.
To the I don't know, it's not a wives' tip, but the thought process that it's your mother's father.
So
that predicts.
We're right there. So we just finished with the androgens. That's the the hormone aspect to it. Then the genetic aspect. So supposedly the science says
maternal grandfather.
The science says that the hair loss gene comes from the X chromosome.
Okay.
So if you're a female, you have two X chromosomes. If you're a male, you have an X and a Y.
Yeah.
So if you're a male, you're getting your X chromosome from your mom.
Right.
But your mom has two X's. So it's kind of unclear where exactly it can come. It can come from her mom or her dad.
Okay.
But it's coming from your mother's side. And it also has some factors. Again, it's not. I think the old wives' tale is correct, but there are other factors that can affect it.
So, as an example, then let's put this a personal example here. My mother's father, super bald. My mom's mom has a full head of hair.
Correct.
So I may not be screwed, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Also, women don't bald as much as men.
Women don't, but they do experience certain thinning and baldness at certain times, and especially related to menopause and different other hormonal changes.
Okay.
But you are right. Your mom could have two X's, and you just get the one side of her that might be better. I'm actually similar. My mom's side is all bald, and my dad's side, he's got a pretty good head of hair. I think I'm just kind of skirting playing the odds.
You never know.
I'm playing the odds. There's different. It occurs in different ethnic groups at different rates and likelihoods. Chinese, African Americans, Native Americans are more likely to keep a full head of hair than whites.
Yep.
Age is a factor.
Duh.
Okay. So, but reading into this, they know age is a big factor, but they don't know exactly what is causing, what is happening in the aging process that is causing this and kind of catalyzing this hair loss.
Okay.
But the different rates are, it's about 3 in 10 people in their 30s, so 30% chance in your 30s, call it, and it goes up by 10% each decade. So in your 40s, it's 4 out of 10, 50s, 5 out of 10. If you're 80% of people are bald or balding. So that's sort of the rate, and it's a pretty consistent rate.
I'm trying to think of 10 friends. Well, that's not really fair because I can just pick 4 bald ones.
And group them all together. But if you look at your maybe more holistic view of your friends, I think that kind of matches up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure it's not me.
And also, we're in our 30s. Like, I think this stage would probably be when guys are being like, "Oh crap, I'm kind of going bald here," or whatever.
Yeah,
It's tough. It's tough out there.
I found a lot of gray hairs recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Right, my sideburns mostly.
I keep thinking
The side of my
if
head.
I'm seeing any, but I haven't fully.
I have one that's in the front that I've tried to pull out like 15 times, and it always evades me. It always gets away from me.
Do you have to look at it in the right light
Yeah,
to see if it's gray?
It just shine. It's like just a glare off a Rolex when you get it the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So those are the three things that factor into hair loss, in specifically androgenetic alopecia.
Yeah.
Male pattern baldness.
Right.
Other factors that can factor in. This is not male pattern baldness, but like radiation exposure.
Sure.
Stress, sudden weight loss, or dramatic event. I found interesting. So just like stress and that can cause your hair to fall.
Sense.
They did mention, or I did read that this might not be forever. It might happen for 6 months after something, and then it comes back. Everything's normal.
You look at like presidents when they first go in their first term, and when they leave after 4 years, they're like Obama, Bush, all of them. They age
like 20 years in 8. Yeah, it's crazy. So let's talk about some of the treatments.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, if it's a hormone issue, there are hormone treatments.
Okay.
So looking at Propecia and Rogaine, there's a certain underlying drug called dioxetil, I think is what these things are, like the compound that these things are mostly made out of. It is not fully understood why this drug affects it. It also will not cure it. It's by no means a cure. It might slow it down. It might cause some hair to regrow, but it won't be for long.
Yeah.
So you can kind of chase it. To your point about making a decision, you can chase it with these drugs, but you can't cure it and you can't cause it to regrow.
You also run the risk of like getting super hairy knuckles, I feel like.
So, and then there are other hormonal side effects to taking these drugs too that could maybe be sexual impotence, something else that factors in. A whole bunch of different things could factor in from that.
Not worth it.
Maybe not worth it. And we'll get to that last part. So you mentioned hair transplants, and this was actually, I was having a conversation with somebody, and they mentioned somebody who went bald, and they were like, "Oh, they went away," and then I saw them 6 months later, and they had a full head of hair. And I was like, "What happened?" He got hair transplants.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What is this process like? I've never even understood
Sounds
this."
super painful.
Looking into it, it does sound super painful. It kind of takes a long time.
Yeah.
So they take the hair follicles from a healthy part of your scalp. So if you've got hair, like a healthy back of the head, they could take a 6 to 10 inch line of hair from here, like the follicles. And there's 2 different methods, I guess, to remove the follicles, but they could take them out one at a time and move them into a healthy position and just start planting them in your head. I mean, it's when you break down sort of just the simplicity of what they're doing, it's just weird. Like,
yeah.
You moved a healthy hair follicle to a place that you were. So aren't you just kind of like covering up, like trying to plug holes? But I guess the other hair around this strip that you took off the back of your hair just kind of fills it in, and you don't see it.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, people do it. So
So it takes 4 to 8 hours.
The
surgery.
Yeah.
You can return to work in 2 to 5 days.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like a lot of bleeding, a lot of like weirdness to a lot of weird pictures I saw. And it costs from a range of $4,000 to $15,000.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just looks like, I feel like your head's just going to be on fire for weeks. I feel like.
Yeah.
While it's growing and recovering.
They were saying it could be very tender and it sounds.
No noogies.
But, oh God. And, but no, I mean, people do kind of say it works, and some people come back and look great.
So the prognosis for that is you just have good hair forever now, or it's just it elongates the.
It should elongate
the time frame.
As long as that hair follicle they moved. Mm-hmm. I guess in kind of what I had researched, I would say is it that hair follicle was not predisposed to baldness through the pattern.
Gotcha.
So they took something from another part of the scalp pattern.
So it's not necessarily the part of your head. It's just the follicle is messed up.
Yeah. Well, the follicle is predisposed to this DHT hormone.
Right.
And that when it binds, that's when it causes it. That's when it tells it to like, why don't you die a little early?
Take a break.
Be like, nah, I'm only 30.
Hit the showers.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Shit, I had something to say. Anyway, keep going.
All right. So I'm going to move on to my last section here. Chicks, man. I take that from E. or the soup. You know, chicks,
Yes.
man.
Yes.
All right. So So if people are so insecure about this, like why? Like what is it? So 76% of women just don't care. That if you're bald, you're not
Based
bald,
on
whatever.
what? Some survey you read online.
Yeah, survey I read online. 76%.
I believe
Now,
I believe that 76% of women would say they don't care.
now exactly. So now I saw it like immediately right after this. Almost 50% of women in our study say a buzz though is the way to go. So
You can't have it both ways.
so you don't care, well then you shouldn't give us your opinion on which option we should do because you wouldn't care either way. And it's just a very it's like a female thing. Like I don't care until you ask me.
Is this like fully bald versus like just leaving a little stubble?
So I think they're saying
we should get a
the
bald person on
buzz.
the podcast. I know one.
Oh, I do too. And he shaved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the buzz I think is just kind of like go down to like almost like a crew cut. You leave whatever. It's almost like
The half guard or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. And you kind of think, Googled sexy bald men. Google.
It was already auto-filled into your search bar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was sexy, and it was just bald men.
Yep.
So yeah, like the main ones, like Michael Jordan, Jason Statham, I think would be like what they're saying is the bald or the buzz cut look.
Yeah. Okay.
Where he just keeps it really close, but you can kind of see where the hair would come in. But yeah,
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis is another one. Vin Diesel. Bruce Willis is actually sort of like
The Rock.
the most talked about good-looking bald guy. And we just watched Die Hard last night, and he had a full head of
He
hair.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he did have a full head of hair.
Full head of hair in that movie. Andre Agassi,
Yes.
Samuel L.
Who
Jackson.
apparently wore a wig for a while,
Really?
from what I understand.
Oh, I did not know that.
I hope I didn't just make that up.
This other guy, Freddie
Yeah.
Lernberg.
Andre Agassi admits long hairstyle was a wig. That big
Oh,
mullet he
really?
had was not his real hair.
Oh, because he looks really good without hair, I think.
Yeah.
He looks solid. This is what I think people are getting at, though. It's like, own it, right?
Right.
If you're going bald, cut it back and just be confident, and like that confidence will be sexy. I mean, you also look at a lot of these guys, like they're all pretty much in shape.
Well, that
You know,
helps as
they're-
well.
Right? Like if you're in good shape,
They
you
have
can kind
money.
of do whatever you want. And I think they got a lot
I
of
think
friends.
they're all pretty financially stable.
They look pretty good. They're confident men.
Then
I
you got
get
somebody like Bagel Boss guy who's like super bald as well.
Yeah.
He's also like 5'.
Well, there were some people on here that I thought were funny. Michael Chiklis. He's the guy from what was his show? He always plays a cop.
Yeah. He was he hit himself with a belt, right? Isn't
Yeah.
that guy?
Yeah.
What
Yep.
show was that?
Ah,
Boardwalk Empire?
yeah, I think Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah.
And there was one other one on here.
He's not bald.
Who?
Chickless or whatever that guy. Is he?
If we're thinking of the right guy, if you're thinking of the right guy, he definitely is bald. The other guy on here I thought was funny.
Oh, Breaking Bad. That's Hank Schrader from Breaking Bad. I thought that was
It's
is
not.
that that's not he,
No,
he
it's
was,
from that other cop show.
He was the Thing in Fantastic Four.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That guy. We
He's that
found
bald
the bald
guy. He's that bald guy.
That bald guy.
Bruce Willis.
Howie Mandel is on this list. I don't think Howie Mandel's a great looking guy, but all right.
He's just he's a weirdo. He's a big time germaphobe.
Yeah. He doesn't like shaking hands.
Yeah.
John Travolta's on this list.
Yes.
Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I think to your point, when they started asking women about this, I think anywhere in between where it's like you kind of got this patchiness to what you're doing. It doesn't look like there's any strategy to what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have like hair or whatever, just make it like own it and do it in a way that you make it clean and looks good. I don't know what else to say about it.
Stop faking it. Basically.
Just stop faking it. Yeah.
Let it go.
Let it go. Shave it back.
Yeah.
and
It's
do
so
it.
easy to say as a guy with beautiful locks,
For sure.
but
For sure. I don't know what I would do. If I got one mole on my side of my head,
yeah.
I would get rid of that, and then I think I would shave it.
You have a mole?
Yeah. I've always had this mole on the
I
side
have
of my head.
I have a thing on the back of my head as well.
I have a concern that like my head would be like the contours of my scalp wouldn't be
just completely square off.
Awesome. Yeah, you coming back on Frankenstein.
You got 90-degree angles up there.
I did have to shave my head for freshman year of football.
And
I hated it.
I've buzzed my head on multiple occasions.
Yeah?
It's not bad.
Uh-huh.
I think if you've never done that before, you're like, you don't know what heads without hair kind of look weird if you're not used to it, right?
Sure.
So you don't know what your head's going to look like.
It's true.
The shape of it.
Yeah.
You got any indentations?
Supposedly, and I was reading this, and I think I couldn't tell how much of this is like, I've gone bald and let's now make myself feel better about it. Some people say it makes them look more distinguished, more intelligent,
right,
and more confident,
okay,
and more dominant. So women would say this. It also makes them look supposedly a little bit older.
Right.
On average, looking at a person who's bald, they might get a year older in age. Be like, oh, that guy looks 35.
Sure.
Oh, he looks 40.
One thing you left off about all these bald guys that you mentioned is they're all relatively jacked as well.
That's true.
I don't think you can be like a skinny bald dude.
Right. Or a skinny or an overly.
And typically you're going to have some facial hair, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. So that was the other thing. Like you could have a lot of hair in other places. This was a question I was trying to get to. Like if you're losing your hair, are you also losing it everywhere? But no, it's just it's the hair follicles in your head. Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, no, you're right. I think they do. They get jacked to either offset. So I don't know.
Right. Well, you just draw the eyes somewhere else.
Yeah. You've seen like really short guys. They get
out
really
these
jacked. Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, no, that's going bald.
Going bald.
Going bald.
Wow. Are there any bald listeners out there? Hopefully we covered the bases.
Yeah, and hopefully, and
anybody's going through the struggle right now,
just own it.
Own it.
I mean, it's not. And some people I think look better bald.
Well, a lot of them,
or they look good in a different way. I don't know
what? Let me put it this way: do what you want to do. My opinion is that you're not fooling anybody.
Yeah. Going bald.
Excellent. Anything else?
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks everybody for listening in on baldness and therapy animals. Hey, I'll tell you what, if you're going bald and struggling with it, it's causing you a lot of angst and anxiety, there's several websites online that will write you a letter so that you can travel with your pet.
Perfect.
Yes, your balding chihuahua. You can take it on a plane with you.
And also send a little donation over to our
Canines for Warriors, Pets for
Warriors.
Patriots. There's tons of them.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Support them.
Are we saying Merry Christmas again?
Oh, yeah. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa.
Yes.
All of the above.
Exactly. That's all I got. Thanks so much for listening. We will see you guys next week.
See you guys.